Holy shit, about time you showed up.
Sorry about that. We were busy trying to get Donald out of Fulton County.
Can you believe the bullshit they're charging me with? This is an attack on my First Amendment right.
Don't make me make good on my word to put your head through a fucking door.
I'd like to see you try with those scrawny arms.
Jesus Christ, will you two shut the hell up? You're like two squirrels fighting over an acorn.
Apologies, Barack.
I plead the fifth.
By the way, Donald, you're nailing your Kubrick face.
George, I could make a joke, but 9/11 was this month, so I'm giving you a pass.
Oddly polite of you, Donald.
Concerning even.
Moving on now, we just gonna rank all the remaining films in one video?
The fans requested it, and we shall deliver.
Monsterverse and Reiwa Era, here we come.
Godzilla 2014. Honestly, this is underrated. The film is better than people give it credit for.
I don't like bringing night vision goggles to the theater just to see the film.
That's a valid criticism. Being the kickoff feature in the Monsterverse, it had the most glaring issues, but those were gradually worked out over time with more installments.
The kaiju are great when they're on screen, and Gareth Edwards did a phenomenal job making you feel the scale of these monsters.
On the topic of kaiju, the designs look great. The Mutos are freaky, and Godzilla's regal yet imposing design is a beloved iteration of the G-Man.
Too bad they're only on screen for like 10 minutes.
Another valid point, the monsters feel like they take a back seat for some points in the movie.
Some of the human characters deserved more screen time. Bryan Cranston's character was actually pretty interesting, and I wish they did more with him.
For what it's worth, the film is by all accounts a great watch. Though if you're looking for a super kaiju-packed brawl, you'll be disappointed.
Taking into account the pros and cons of the film, you guys think bottom of A tier is fair?
I think top of B tier is actually more fitting. The issues the film has are a bit too much for A tier.
I gotta agree with Georgie Boy on this one, Obama.
Don, never call me that again.
George just let it happen. He's not going to stop now.
Looks like we've settled on a B tier for 2014.
All right, time for the Reiwa Era. I think we all know where Shin Godzilla is going.
Straight to F tier, right?
The fuck?
Wait, huh? What did I say?
Donald, what the hell, dude?
Get Jack Smith on the damn phone and add defamation to Don's rap sheet.
Wait, you guys aren't seriously thinking of putting this film any higher than F tier, are you?
Yes, we are.
Donald, every time I think you can't go any lower, you somehow prove me wrong.
Donald, we of all people should understand just how goated this film is.
You guys really went to watch this film in theaters, kept track of a cast bigger than the U.S. Congress, and expect me to believe this film is good?
Made by the dude who gave us the treasured Neon Genesis Evangelion, so yes.
Speaking of Evangelion, we should totally do a tier list on that.
I don't see how you guys like this film. It's confusing, boring, and Godzilla feels like an afterthought.
An afterthought? This Godzilla is an allegory for the Fukushima disaster that rocked Japan in 2011. He is literally anything but an afterthought.
This movie is a definite G tier. Nothing less will do.
I move to disqualify Donald's opinion on the grounds that it's slander.
I second that.
Motion granted. Shin Godzilla is automatically G tier.
Welcome to Sleepy Joe's America, everybody.
Moving on. Quite a few people have been eagerly waiting on our opinions on the Netflix Godzilla films.
A lot of wasted potential, if you ask me.
Planet of Monsters plays with interesting concepts, and the idea of Earth's ecosystem evolving around Godzilla was a novel idea.
Godzilla being brought into the medium of anime is something hundreds of fans have wanted to see. And the opening minutes of the movie really set a high bar.
The opening minutes are the best part of the whole film. After that, it just squanders all of it.
When I first got the announcement of the film, I was hoping for a rich world and interesting characters, and I was left disappointed.
Just like your 3 marriages.
I'm surprised you remembered how many marriages I've been in, Sleepy Joe. The new dementia pills must be working.
Planet of Monsters has interesting ideas, but it was hampered by a lot of plain characters, technological BS, and an uninteresting story. I'm thinking D tier.
Bottom of D tier works for me.
Fine with that as well.
Planet of Monsters in D tier is fine with me.
Oh, Lord City on the Edge of Battle is next.
By all accounts, this movie is better than Planet of Monsters, but wow, did it take some egregious missteps.
You can't tease Mechagodzilla in the film, then hardly include him.
Technically, he is in the film.
I do not count Mechagodzilla City as a true Mechagodzilla.
To give it credit, it did make the cast smaller and everyone is given more to do. But the technobabble is still a glaring problem that bogs it down.
At least the characters are more bearable to listen to. And the idea of the nano metal was at least decently interesting.
City on the Edge of Battle is an infinitely better watch than Planet of Monsters, but it committed the cardinal sin of teasing a monster that never showed up. For that, I cast my vote as F tier.
I do have to agree. It's a shame that this film is better, yet it ends up in F.
City on the Edge of Battle is sadly put in F tier. This is honestly the only F tier that could have been avoided if the film had been better.
Finally, The Planet Eater, probably my favorite one of the anime trilogy.
100%. This film is definitely the best out of all 3.
The more Lovecraftian take on Ghidorah is probably the best move this trilogy could have taken. While a rather unorthodox take on the 3-headed dragon, it pays off nicely and ends on a high note.
Another positive is we actually get to see a kaiju fight this time, albeit being kind of lackluster.
Definitely the best part of the whole film is when Ghidorah destroys the spaceship. The humans realizing they are already dead before it happens really lives up to Ghidorah's reputation.
Shrinking the cast even more did help. But all 3 of these films have the same issue with characters not being flushed out and are used more as vessels for their ideas.
Though this movie trilogy isn't the best, you can't help but admire that they took a risk and tried something new for Godzilla. With everything in mind for the Planet Eater, I think top of D tier is a fitting placement.
Top of D tier sounds fair to me.
Fine with me as well.
Planet Eater is going to top of D tier. Now let's return to the Monsterverse and finish this tier list once and for all, gentlemen.
Ah, yes, Godzilla, king of the monsters.
All of us going to the theater on opening night and having a fantastic viewing experience was so nice.
God, I remember that night. It was great.
Donald, you ordered 2 Diet Cokes, 3 Bunch of Crunches, and threw up in my car.
Don't dwell on the past, Barack.
You still owe me for the new upholstery, you fucking asshat.
Quiet, ladies, we have films to rank.
King of the Monsters' altered Godzilla design is a step up from 2014. The new dorsal plates are a nice callback to the 54 design.
I don't know what shit the critics were smoking. This film was fire all the way through.
King of the Monsters did fix the lack of kaiju screen time, and their designs are absolutely incredible.
However, King of the Monsters still suffers from the dark lighting that plagued 2014, and the story is still a bit imbalanced between the human and kaiju side.
The human side of the story is good, but Emma Russell's reasons for unleashing Ghidorah and the other Titans seemed rather one-dimensional.
On the opposite side of that, Madison Russell is pretty good, and Ken Watanabe's sacrifice is beautifully done.
The final confrontation in Boston was fantastic. Really takes me back to the old days of my youth.
Reminiscing about observing the T-Rexes in the Cretaceous period, Joe?
Donald, don't start now.
Question, Donald, did you ever find the fairies to simp for?
Did you ever find the WMDs in Iraq?
George, don't pull the pin on that grenade, just move on.
Taking everything into account, I'm voting S tier. King of the Monsters was a Godzilla movie made for the fans.
S tier it is.
S tier is a fine ranking for this work of art.
King of the Monsters goes to S tier.
And at long last, people, Godzilla vs. Kong, the final film of the tier list.
I mean, what else is there to say? This film is a good old monster brawl. And shit, is it a good one?
This movie ironed out all the kinks in the Monsterverse. No super dark lighting even at night, and a balanced human story with the kaiju.
I'm super glad Adam Wingard is returning to direct The New Empire because his work on GVK was perfection.
Despite Kong being at a disadvantage, he put up a damn good fight against Godzilla, using his superior intelligence and agility to maintain his edge.
I can't find anything wrong with the human characters either. Gia and Kong's chemistry was super wholesome. Only complaint is Ren Serizawa should have gotten more to do in the story.
Also, who can forget watching Mechagodzilla throw Godzilla around like Trump in court?
You stay out of my business, Sleepy.
If I did, you'd still be in jail right now.
I'm saying G tier, not because of the amazing story, but because of the weight behind the film. This was the first time in 60+ years where the 2 biggest monsters ever were on screen together again. And the fact this film performed as well as it did, even in the pandemic, speaks volumes.
Barack's got my vote. G tier it is.
I agree with that. G tier is fine.
And so we end off our Godzilla film tier list with an atomic bang, Godzilla vs. Kong going to G tier. We finally ranked all the Godzilla films, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy crap, we did it. We actually made it to the end. And with only a few trash takes in there, I consider that a win.
Oh, come on, my Shin Godzilla take is not that bad.
No, it definitely is, Donald.
And guys, leave any comments or suggestions on what we should rank next. Have a wonderful rest of your day.